if you've ever let the fear of spending money stop you from making an investment, starting your business, growing your business, or just expanding, but that fear, that scarcity, that crippling what if, what's going to happen, and what's going to happen is only negative in your mind. If that's you, then you need to watch this video because I've been in that position. I started my business almost 10 years ago, no family backing, no investor backing, no experience. And I even sold my car to fund the business. So I put all the chips on the table. And I'll tell you why scarcity in this video can be the most damaging part of your growth of your business, and if your business even gets off the ground. And your business can grow past your mindset about money. We all have trauma. We all have during childhood, we have maybe jealousy, we have fear, we have I need to make more, it'll never be good enough. We all have this trauma around money, sometimes good, sometimes bad. And we need to rewire our brain as an adult to rethink opportunity, scarcity, risk, and ideally focusing on the growth mindset and expansion. Because scarcity isn't about how much money you have at this point in time, it's how you think about opportunity, risk, right? That's something where in this video, I'm going to share stories from my life from when I had massive scarcity and as I've grown over the last 10 years in my business and just as an entrepreneur and as a leader. Because again, you could have no money, but the biggest risk in your mind is spending $100 to buy that course or buy that book or start the business. But let me take you back to this moment when I started and I realized I have this overwhelming scarcity mindset. So my car broke down and it was going to cost $2,000 to fix. And I had the money in my bank account, but I thought, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend this 2,000 and what if he steals it? And what if it needs more money? And I started to go off a cliff. I was thinking of all these crazy situations. Like, what if I sold this car as is, broken, right? And it made no sense at all. It wasn't logical. It was very much based in scarcity. So I had to rewire my brain and think, okay, I'm going to sell this car to fund my business, but I need to make this logical ROI based decision, not out of fear. So I'm going to spend the money, repair my car, so I can sell it for more and it's going to all work out. And I can sell it faster to get the money to then invest in my business. That's scarcity, right? I was thinking about the fear of not having enough in the future. So I make decisions based on at the time, well, I'm going to hold on tight to this $2,000 so tightly because I might not have more in the future. And if I would have rethunk it and think, okay, well, I'm going to put $2,000 into this car, I'm going to sell it, I'm going to put that money into my business and make $20,000 a month in the next even 2 or 3 years. That's how I should have been thinking. I was wasting so much bandwidth mentally on problems that weren't problems whatsoever. I was creating problems, but it was based on my relationship with scarcity and money. And as an example, another story, I was 17 years old. I was a junior in high school and becoming a senior. And a friend of mine at the lunch table, I remember it so vividly, $1,000 in his Bank of America account. And I literally thought, this kid, this guy, he's a year older, he is rich. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have like $500 in my account. So I thought he had so much security. I thought he was financially free as an 18-year-old, and he had $5,000 in his savings. And my whole perspective around money was totally warped. And I didn't have any money growing up. I wasn't exposed to money. And so my brain was calibrated towards, oh my gosh, $5,000. Like, I was working a job at the time in high school where a good 2-week paycheck was $250. And so the lesson in that for you guys is you have to expand your exposure. You have to expand your horizons and your environment. Everything is about who you're around. It's proximity to power and it's proximity to ideally your future, because if you're around people that think $5,000 is a lot of money, you'll think $5,000 is a lot of money. And I'm not hating on $5,000, but I'm around people in life these days where, and again, you get uncomfortable because they show me opportunities and possibilities that I never thought were possible. As an example, almost 10 years later, I'm a member at a country club. Initiation, the full initiation is $500,000. So not 5,000, not 50, 500,000. Old Alex wouldn't have spent that money. He would have thought $1,000, I could be earning 4% risk free in a savings account. That's 1,600 a month. But now I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to play around 8-figure, 9-figure, billionaire level entrepreneurs. And even if I never make a direct ROI, I never get a client, I never get a deal from this club, I'm going to gain millions and tens of millions in relationships, knowledge, experience just by learning from them. And again, scarcity is thinking, but Alex, you could just look that up on YouTube, save that 500,000. It would be $3 million in 50 years. But I'm thinking, what if I make this one relationship, this one nugget of information that I get, and that might make me $3 million a year. So again, scarcity is about staying in the same place. It's very restrictive. Growth is about scaling up, but also you light a fire, you burn the boats, you burn the bridges, you say, there's no going back. I have to be successful. I have these big goals and they have to happen. And you get around the right people who let you know, oh, wow, yeah, your goal, it's doable, but here's what you're missing, or here's what you need to rethink, because they've already done it 10 times over. Whereas if you're around people that are at your current level, they don't have the advice to get you to that next level, and they've never been there. And so when you think about scarcity, you also think about not what am I going to gain? You think about what I can lose, right? You think, what if this doesn't work? What if I lose money? What if this, what if that? And they're not good what ifs. Growth is about what if I join, or what if I do this mastermind, or what if I run this advertising, or I make this video? What are the opportunities, the possibilities? What if I get 1 million views? It's possible. It's not impossible. And a part of scarcity is that you believe money is finite, or you believe if you spend money, it's gone forever. Whereas abundance and growth is about, okay, well, I can invest $2,000 into my business and maybe make 20,000. So you're not thinking, how can I afford this? Or should I even spend this money? You're like, how can I afford not to invest this? What am I going to do? Stay in the same place? And what is this $2,000 going to do sitting in the bank? I need it to work. I want to grow. I need to grow. Again, going back to your environment, when you think about setting goals, so many people, they set their goals very, very small because that's all they know. They think, okay, I'm going to run this business. I'm going to do this and that. And I'm going to invest in real estate. And, I'm going to make $100,000 a year in 10 years. And you're like, okay, well, in 10 years, doing the same business, making relationships, marketing, building a brand, why can't you do 1 million a year? Why can't you do 1 million a month? Like, what scientifically or logically, or what force is stopping you from making that happen? And there's usually nothing in the real world, or again, there's no physics law stopping you from building $1 million business. It's usually you don't think that's possible in your true heart of hearts, right? And that's why it's uncomfortable, though, being in these environments where you're around very, very successful people who, again, they might make $1 million a day. And for me, a humongous best ever month or two is $1 million, right? So you never want to be that person that's only looking to be the most successful person in the room. I like being the least successful person in the room, because then I'm just listening, right? God gave us one mouth and 2 ears. So I like to listen, and I like to see, how do they operate? How do they tip? How are they generous? How much do they work? How do they focus? How do they leverage their time, right? I'm not thinking, oh, I'm going to join the golf club, but then I'm going to eat lunch at McDonald's on the way to save money. It's like, no, we go have lunch and we sit around people and meet them. We listen to what they're saying. We have conversations. We like to people watch, but you listen, you hear things, and it like, yeah, I'm spending a little more money eating at the club than eating at McDonald's. But again, I'm not thinking about saving 10 or 20 bucks. I'm thinking about, what if I learn a nugget that makes me millions? And that's, again, it's a totally different mindset, but you should think about what environments can you get into. It doesn't have to be the fancy country club yet, but it could be a nice hotel bar, you buy one drink, or you buy a Coke, and you sit there and you talk to people, you meet people, and again, that might cost you $10. But you have to put yourself in those environments, and you have to get very, very uncomfortable, because you're not in a position of power or status. You're the one seeking information and relationships and knowledge, but that's a required part of success and growth at the end of the day. And part of that is setting goals that scare you, right? So if you're thinking, how can I grow? How can I get started? Set a goal that is humongous, that is that's what you're doing now, but don't say, okay, I want to do this in the next 12 months, because you're giving yourself an impossible goal. Why not say, let me have this huge, amazing goal in 10 years, in 15 years? Because why the rush, right? If the number one thing I've learned from successful people, they don't get rich quick, right? They don't focus on what am I going to do in the next 3 months. They think, okay, I'm going to plant these seeds, I'm going to build this plan, and I could do something in the next 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. And so that's my number one takeaway to give you guys out of all of this, because you're going from scarcity to growth. And I'm mentioning a lot of things, but the number one takeaway, if you're looking at setting goals and growth, is you have to give yourself time. Because again, I'm not going to 100x my business by listening to one person at the country club and doing something fast and getting fast results. It might take 5 years, 10 years, 20 years to see the overall vision come true, but that's not a problem. Whereas again, scarcity is about fast money, restrictive. Like, no, if I'm going to spend money, I need to make it back ASAP. And that's why if you look at scarcity, people that aren't killing it and growing long term, what's get rich quick? It's sports gambling, it's going to the casino, which they're not doing for fun. They're like, oh, I'm gonna fast money. I'm gonna turn 1,000 into 100,000 in the next month or two. These are real things, right? Whereas they're not thinking, okay, how can I slow down, set big goals, give myself a big time frame, and start planting the seeds and start getting in the right direction, right? So before we set goals or grow your business or do anything, you have to at least change your mindset first, and at least identify when you're having those scarcity moments and think, okay, that's fine. I have scarcity moments. We all do, but identify them and think, why am I thinking like that? Why am I trying to restrict and constrict and stay in the same place? Why is my default not growth, abundance, prosperity, and taking things to the next level? So I want to leave you with that. And if you have any questions, comment below. But again, heading into 2026 and 2036 and 2046 long term, the only thing that's stopping you from achieving your goals is you. And this scarcity versus growth. That's the only thing. Not the government, not me, not YouTubers, not anything online. It's you. So catch your scarcity moments, start today focusing on growth, change your environment, set big goals over a long period of time. And I'm confident that you will be in a much better place than you are right now, which is the goal for all of us. Financially, business, health, relationship, it's everything, right? So take notes from this video, watch it over again in 3 months, see if you're improving. But thank you for watching. I appreciate the support. And again, this is Alex Alboran. Have a great day. God bless.